I get lost inside my thoughts, and when I start to think, oh, the time how close it starts to end up on the brink. I tried so hard, but all these scars, they cut so deep I bleed. I fell so fast from heaven, it's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe.
Hello guys, it's your boy Anime Squad 101 here, back with another video today. And today I'm doing What If Deku Was Reborn as a Slime Part 2. This is a collaboration with Crimson. If you don't know who that is, I'll link the channel down below, or have it in the cards somewhere. Sorry if this is bad. I haven't done a What If in a while. I've been on hiatus. So yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, I'll try my best. So yeah, let's get into the What If. So, where we left this What If off, Deku and Gapta, his crew, and Ranga just started to head off to go to Dorgon. I think that's the name. And yeah, everything pretty much happens the same as in canon. Deku asking Ranga if he ever thought of killing him. Ranga still saying the explanation that I had thought about it, but seeing the way you've treated me and the other direwolves, you've showed us mercy, so I don't think I would. Deku saying, alright, and they continue to head to Dorgon. Oh my. They get to the outskirts of Dorgon, and Deku still just tells everyone to stay here, except for Gapta. And they walk over. They are waiting in the line, and two drunk adventurers come up and say, look, this slime and this goblin are trying to get into the city. We can't have that. Now, could we? His friends just saying, yeah. And the only rule is that there's no fighting in the walls. We're outside. Perfect. And Deku's like, hey Gapta, was the thing you were trying to tell me earlier that something like this happened to you? Gapta shaking his head and saying, yes, I came all this way and I was beaten up, so I just decided to come back to the village. Deku nodding his head and saying, I see. In that case, hey you, stop messing with us and just leave us be before someone gets hurt. And the adventurers just stare for a second and say, you think we would be scared off by a slime? And his friends say, wait, hold on, this slime can talk. Might catch us a fortune in the black market or something. And his friends say, you're right, maybe we should keep him up. Deku just saying, I'm warning you. And then the adventurers are just like, yeah, we were gonna keep you alive, but now you're gonna die. As the adventurer gets ready to just stab Deku, Deku transforms himself into a direwolf and use the skill Frighten, Imitate, I forget the name, but pretty much just roars and scares the adventurers half to death. And then, then his friends come, same thing happens as canon. The guards come out to see Deku, Gapta, and the adventurers scared and passed out due to fright. And they just arrest Deku and Gapta. So Gapta and Deku are just waiting in the cell, just thinking on what to do. Then Gapta just says, well, we'll probably be here for a while. I don't know. I'm gonna go sleep. Deku's just like, okay. And then a little later, guards come rushing in, yelling, the I forget the name of the brothers. The blank brothers have been attacked and are majorly wounded in the mines. We need to go fast. And they start rushing out, but then they said, wait, we need healing potions, but we don't have any on hand. Deku, hearing this, saying, thinking to himself, I might be able to help him. As then he gets out of his beer barrel and fills it up with 100% healing potion. Then says, psst, psst, hey, come over here. And the guard turning around saying, huh, you talking to me? Deku just saying, yeah, I'm talking to you. And the guard walks over, is just like, what do you want? Deku just saying, well, I've heard you needed some healing potions. I got some that you can use. Then he gestures to the barrel. The guard just saying, get back in your barrel. And then Deku just saying, well, if I am in the barrel, how am I going to give this to you? Then one of the guards say, come on, we need to go now. And the guard, and the other guard, Warren or whatever, just says, fine, come on, let's take this barrel and let's go. The guard is saying, are you sure? How could we know this is, how could we know if we could trust this? The Warren just saying, we don't have a choice. And he grabs the barrel and go. A little later, the Warren comes back with a few other men, saying, are you the one that gave us that potion? Deku just saying, yes, that was me. Then they all start thanking him. The two saying, thank you, and the last brother just saying, mm-hmm. Deku just yelling in his head, use your words! And then the Warren lets him out. I forget the Warren's name, so sorry. So yeah, that happens. Then, ouch. Then the Warren says, how could I repay you? Ryumu's like, well, there is one thing you can do. The Warren lifts his eyebrow up, saying, oh, and what's that? Deku saying, well, I came to Dorgon to look for some skilled artisans, so if you could show me where those are, or introduce me to them, that'd be great. The Warren, looking somewhat shocked, saying, what's that? Is that all? Deku just nodding his head, saying, yep. And the Warren starts laughing, and he's like, that's easy, I know a guy. Deku saying, really? That's amazing. And then the Warren saying, let's go. I can introduce you to him now. They start walking to the artisan's house, and on the way they walk past this armory shop, and Deku sees something shining and catches his eye. He looks over to it and sees a shiny sword. Deku's like, that's amazing, as he goes up to the windowsill. I've never seen a sword that could shine before, and starts geeking out, like how Deku always does. The Warren is saying, you can relax, and besides, I know the guy who made that sword. That's who we're going to now. Deku just gets excited, saying, oh, I can't wait to meet such a skilled craftsman. And they get to the shop, hearing a lot of pounding off in the distance. They walk back to the back rooms of the blacksmith shop and say, "Hey, Kaijin, I got someone to meet you." Kaijin looks up from the sword he was sharpening and says, "Okay, who's this? Who's that?" As then he looks down to see a slime, and Deku just says, "Hi," and Kaijin is just like, "Okay." This is the first time seeing a slime talk, and then the Warren is just like, "Well, he helped us out a bit earlier," and then the three brothers walk into the room and say, "Hey, it's the slime that saved us." And Kaijin's just like, "Oh, you know the slime too?" And they're just like, "Yeah, he saved our butts when we got injured in the mine. If it wasn't for him, we most likely would be dead." Kaijin is just like, "Oh, is that so? Well, thank you for that, slime." And Deku's like, "I have a name, you know." And shoot. And Kaijin said, "Oh, what's that?" "My name's Midoriya." And then Kaijin's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Midoriya. What could I do for you?" And then and then the warden is just like, "Well, that's what we came here for. We wanted to see if you could help this slime in his village. They're looking for people that could help out and make weapons and houses and stuff like that." And then Kaijin's just like, "I wish I could help you, but I'm backed up right now, all because of Prime Minister Vecta." Deku's just like, "Why's that?" And Kaijin explains that Vecta kind of insulted his pride and then requested that he make 20 long swords magic steel long swords by the end of the week. The warden still says, "Well, why didn't you accept that?" And then Kaijin saying that he insulted my pride. And then, Deku thinks of an idea and says, "Hey, could I see this? Hey, could I see the sword you have done?" Kaijin saying, "Sure, why not?" So then Kaijin brings up the sword to him. Deku, looking at it, says, "Okay." As then he eats the sword. Kaijin and everyone is just like, "Why'd you do that?" Deku's just like, "Hold on, give me a minute." As then he spits out the sword. And then 19 others, perfectly like it. Kaijin and everyone is just surprised by this. It's like, this is amazing. You made copies. And Kaijin looks at them and then says, "No, they're not just copies. They're exact copies. I couldn't even tell the difference myself from if it wasn't my own work." Then, then Kaijin says, well, now that this is done, I could do what you needed. Just let me turn these in to the guards." And Kaijin does that, and then they are planning to throw a party. Deku refuses at first, saying, "Well, it's your night. I don't want to mess with that." Then they just say, "It's nothing. We'll be glad to have you here. We'll be glad to have you, and we'll be glad to have you join the party. We don't mind. Besides, you're the reason we were able to do this." Deku just smiling, saying, "Yeah, I guess that is right. So, what are you guys having in mind?" Then they say, "Well, we were planning on going to the Midnight Butterflies." Deku's just like, "Oh, and what's that?" And then they all get a perverted smile on their face and just say, "You'll see." Deku, somewhat realizing, wait a minute, this is a club. Then they get into the nightclub with all the elves, and then pretty much the same thing happens. All the elves going around Deku, because Deku a player. No, because they think he's cute and all that. And yeah, I'm gonna skip majority of this since there's not much that happens. And then they're all partying and everything. And then Vesta walks in the bar. And he says, "Oh, what is this? Kaijin and his men partying. Don't you have long swords to be making?" And then Kaijin's just like, "Yeah, we did. I turned them into the guards earlier today." Then Vector, or yeah, whatever, goes off on his rant about, and then he's like, "Wait, what? How could you have them done? That's impossible. I mean, that's surprising." And they're just like, huh, "Yeah, whatever. You're a douche." And then Vector goes on in his tangent about, "Why are you letting a slime in here? Does that not count as a monster?" Blah, blah, blah. And then Kaijin hears enough of this and just a Detroit, no, not even Detroit smash, United States of smashes his face in. And then Vector's just like, "You punched me, a prime minister? How dare you? You'll be hearing from my lawyer." And he walks out of the club. They're all just like, douche. And then, yeah, they get arrested and they're brought on trial or whatever. And yeah, that pretty much goes the same, getting exiled from the Kingdom of Dorgon. And yeah, so then he goes back to the village with the four artisans. I think their names were Kaijin, Grum, Dio. No, that ain't no Dio. This ain't JoJo's. I'm not even gonna try the last one. I think I failed them already. And yeah. So yeah, that happens. They go to the village and only to find a lot more goblins there. Deku's just like, what is this? And shoot, what was his name? What was the elder's name? Well, the elder comes up and just says, Lord, these goblins have heard about your feats and everything and wanted to see if they could join the village. Deku just staring at the group and just saying, "Welcome to the village." And they all start cheering. Then he names all the goblins and goes back to sleep for a few more days. When he wakes up, he gets up, summons Ranga, and just starts going around the village, seeing the village start being created, more houses and everything. Then he goes into a tent where Kaijin and his men are. He sees Kaijin working on some new swords and a bit of armor, and the rest of them doing their professions. I don't remember anything. I'm sorry. So yeah. Then Rimuru is just wandering the forest, and then he sees these giant fire ants. He goes to check it out, and he sees four adventurers about to get killed by one of the fire ants. And then he uses his black lightning and destroys the ants. Then he walks over and saying, "Okay, note to self, never use that again." And then the adventurers see him, and one of them draws up a sword because the thing just used black lightning. How? And then um, Deku's just saying, "Wait, hold on, I'm not a bad slime, slurp." And then the masked woman starts to chuckle a little. And then they follow, or then Deku just says, "Hey, could you guys follow me? I want to bring you to my village." And they somewhat walk cautiously because can't trust a slime you don't even know. And they go to the village. Rieger says, "Lord, I see you have guests. Should we prepare a feast for them?" Deku just saying, "Yes. Yeah, just prepare it in that hut over there." And yeah, that happens. So pretty much everything happens the same as in canon. Deku just welcoming them to the village, blah 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 blah. That happens. And then Deku shoot. Deku sees Shizune, or the masked woman, off by a cliff, just standing there. Deku decides to come over there and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And Shizune, or the masked woman, just says, "You're Japanese, aren't you?" Deku, somewhat surprised by this, saying, yeah, how'd you know? That line you used. I'm not a bad slime, Slurp. I never played the game, but one of my students told me about that." Deku just saying, "Oh, I see." Hmm. Then Shizune says, "What was things like after the war?" Deku just saying, "What war do you mean?" World War II. Then Deku is just like, "Well, after the war, peace came and Japan started to flourish." And yeah, pretty much goes on the whole history lesson about quirks and how they appeared and everything before quirks, pretty much from World War II to present day MHA. So yeah, that happens. uh, so yeah, then Shizune just sheds a tear and say, "Oh, I see. I've missed so much." Deku just saying, "Hey, it's not your fault. I mean, how would you know you would be stuck here?" And yeah, pretty much that happens the same as in canon. Then it's time for them to go back to the kingdom of Fairmute. Think that's the name. And yeah, that happens. And Shizune starts walking over to the group, and then she starts clutching her heart. Deku seeing this is just like, "You okay?" And then her mask starts cracking with red beams coming out of it. Or maybe not red beams, but red light. And the mask breaks, revealing Ifrit, the superior spirit inside of her. And yeah, Ifrit starts causing chaos. And yeah, pretty much that fight goes. It's pretty same as in canon, actually. And yeah, the aftermath still goes off as in canon, where she's really just is lying there on her deathbed, just say if or asking Deku if he could do one last request for her. And Deku's just like, "Oh, what's that? Could you eat me?" Deku just go back. "Hold up, Nani? Wait, why?" And Shizune gives her explanation. I forgot her explanation. But yeah. So Deku eats her, unlocks his human form. So pretty much just imagine Rimuru human form, green hair. That's the only difference. So yeah, that happened. So pretty much the adventurers still walk in, seeing Rimuru just there, butt naked. Hopefully YouTube doesn't demonetize me. That would be nice. Hey, yeah, that happened. So yeah, they go off to the kingdom of Fairmute. I don't remember what else happens next, but I think It was like the Orc Lord. Yeah. So we see a orc just struggling to even crawl on the ground with a hood over it. Then we see a guy in a plague doctor mask with a cane just saying, "Do you want power?" The orc looking up saying, "What?" I'll ask again. "Do you want power?" "Yeah, yes." "Power to protect you and your village?" "Yes, I would like that." "Okay, very well. I'll give you a name." And I forgot his name. Yay! So yeah, that's nice. So yeah, then he gives him a name. Then we cut to buildings burnt and cries and bloodshed, which, if you don't know, is the orcs attacking the ogres and 6 ogres escaping. So yeah, then Deku's just walking around the forest because, I mean, what else can he really do in a world with no TV or anything? So yeah, then Deku's walking by and then he gets attacked. Or no, shoot, I forgot. Oh yeah. Then Ranga goes and just yells, "Master, we need help. I'm sorry to call you like this, but we need your help. There's been a disturbance outside the village." Deku just like, "Oh, okay." And he goes over and meets the orcs. So yeah, that happens. Then, uh, yeah, then they start fighting. The orcs saying, the ogres saying, "You're the master, right?" Why did I say Master Raiji? They just mixed. Oh, for flip's sake, the masked, whatever you call him. And yeah, pretty much everything happens as a canon. The ogres go back to the village with him, and he offers them jobs to work under him. They agree, and yeah, I think this is where I'm just gonna leave him off. So yeah, this is a collab with Crimson. Sorry if this is terrible. I'm now starting to edit my videos, cutting out bloopers and stuff. So yeah, Crimson. Sorry it took me so long to make a part 2. I explained to you in Discord, and yeah, Anime Squad 101 signing out.